Speak with Nabila Ramdani, who's a Middle East journalist and commentator who joins me now. I suppose, first off, if we could, Nabila, give my listeners some context of the relationship between Syria and Russia.
Well, yes, indeed. It has to be said that the Russians cynically jumped on the line put forward by Kerry almost as a throwaway line during a press conference yesterday morning in London with his UK counterpart, William Hague, suggesting that the Assad regime, could hand over its chemical weapons to the United Nations. And needless to say that the Russians are the main suppliers of chemical weapons to Assad. They're very loyal to him, and they have in fact blocked 3 resolutions against Syria in the UN Security Council since the beginning of the conflict. They are trade partners, military partners. It has to be said as well that they are historical allies. Assad's family sided with the Russians during the Cold War, for example. So, what was a throwaway line made by Kerry was cynically turned into an actual proposal by the Russians, and lots of twists and turns since, as you said, Obama is now saying that he can put on hold plans to strike against Syria if indeed Assad was to comply by this request. But he adds swiftly that he's skeptical that the Syrian government would follow through. Quite. What this all shows, in fact, is the desperation of everybody to avoid to go to war. This idea that Assad could just hand over his chemical weapons is absurd. He's a desperate man, and his army, his battlefield commanders are the ones who are really in charge of clearing rebel areas. And people have no idea of, the difficult situation he's in. It's like having him in central London and his rebel armies in South London. He has very desperate battlefield commanders who are ready to use and who have resorted to the most abominable and lethal weapons to clear enemy areas. The enemy is literally at the gate.
How genuine are Russia's motives here, or is it possibly just an attempt to buy some time then?
Oh, it's definitely an attempt to buy some time for their ally. They certainly do not want to see Syria attacked by U.S. military strikes. For them, it's a matter of geopolitics and indeed geostrategy. It's almost, the Cold War over again. They have stakes in the area, and they certainly do not want to see more U.S. meddling and muddling in the Middle East. And it has to be said that even in the U.S., Congress is deeply divided. American public opinion is massively against intervention. 500 to 1 Americans are against a military action. But, this is proving to be a very good PR week for Assad, it has to be said. This CBS interview very much played in his favor. He come across almost as a nice guy having a terrible time. And all the reports you see on TV, they show young, fresh Syrian faces saying that they're going to act as human shield for Assad. It's a good week for him.
That was the interview, of course, with Charlie Rose from CBS over in the Straits. Lastly, and this is a very difficult question, Nabila, and I wouldn't know how to answer it, I'm so sorry, about the average Briton, but the average Syrian, how will they react to Russia's role, and what will they want to see happen?
Well, I think the Syrians are divided, but what you see increasingly is that they are against any form of military intervention. If you talk to Syrians in Damascus area in particular, they very much, they do not want to see any foreign strikes on the country, and they even deny the fact that their president could have used chemical weapons. So they very much see Russia as somebody who could provide protection. But it has to be said that this pathetic idea that you can just go and pick up Assad's chemical weapon is far removed from the reality. The logistics involved is immense. It would imply UN inspectors to go there, and it will also require all sides in the conflict to be persuaded to abide by a ceasefire to allow UN officials to work on the field. And as we've seen recently, the UN officials who were in Damascus to investigate the use of chemical weapons were shot at. This is a very messy civil war.
Great job, Nabila. Thank you for all the background. Nabila Ramdani, Middle East journalist and commentator.